Carlos Nelson with Cascade Sports. And tonight, hey, audience, for real, this is one of my best friends in the sports world. We go back a long, long way. And he used to be the head boys coach over at Lee Summit North. When Lee Summit North first started their basketball program, this man, Mr. Mike Hilbert, was in charge. Uh, Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you, Carlos. I think it's been over 30 years since we first met each other in the bleachers down there at
Ten
the
Valley.
Fred Pullman Classic. Yeah. So long, long time we've been visiting.
But what I want to talk to you about, I was reading in the paper or somewhere about this All Star game, and your head coach invited you to be part of the coaching staff. I want you first of all, I want you to talk about your team's run,
Right.
uh, and then talk about this All Star deal and how all this got put together.
Sure. So, well, 2 years ago, I retired on the Missouri side, retired from coaching and teaching at Lee Summit North, and moved to the Kansas side. Was fortunate enough to get hired at Blue Valley North. And at that point, I figured I was probably done with coaching, but was still looking forward to teaching and working with kids, high school students in the classroom. But quickly found out that Coach Ann Fritz, who's a legend on the Kansas side, a Hall of Famer, she's almost won 650 games in a little over 3 decades at Blue Valley North, four-time state champion. She kind of just said I was going to help her coach basketball at Blue Valley North. And, it was pretty easy decision. I had opportunity to go into the gym 2 summers ago and kind of work out with the girls for a little bit. And it didn't take me very long to look at the talent and the ability and just how much fun that they were having. And, I wanted to be a part of that. So came alongside of her a year ago. We had a terrific season, ended up winning the 6A state championship in Kansas, and then
What's some of
returned
the
home.
players that helped you win that state championship?
Sure. Well, we had one senior, um, and Nyla was an outstanding young lady. She is currently playing college basketball. Can't remember the name. It's a D2 school in Ohio. Nyla Hale is her name, and so she graduated. But we returned six. Well, they were sophomores a year ago, so six juniors plus one senior from that state championship team, and they all came back. Have another terrific season underway. We're in the state playoffs. Wednesday night, the 6th of March, we beat Olathe South to advance to the state semifinals, which we'll play tomorrow afternoon down here in Wichita, Friday afternoon. And we face Shawnee Mission South, which in the Kansas City area is probably the number one ranked Class 6 team in the Kansas City area, if not the state. And we'll have to play very, very well. But we're led by Jalea Davis, her sister Tiara Davis, Aubrey Shaw, Ashley Alverson. Um, let's see who else is in our starting five.
How has Shaw been playing this season? Because thanks to you, you were able to get the coach to let Cascade Sports come out when I think they were sophomores then.
Yeah, a year
And
ago.
do interviews with them, and they were real promising back then. How has she been playing? Because her brother was also a D1 prospect.
Yeah, her older brother, Aiden Shaw, plays at the University of Missouri currently. Aubrey's having a terrific year. I think she's averaging close to 16 points, 10 or 11 rebounds per game. From the outside, she's a terrific shooter. And most nights, which has been, a real hard challenge for us. Most nights, teams just face guard her. They don't want her catching the ball because she's very, very prolific from the perimeter. So she's having a terrific year. Jalea Davis is averaging, I think, close to 25 points a game, maybe just under 25 points a game. and multiple double digits in rebounds too. And both of those girls, on a scouting report are the names that the other team circles, and they try to get those two slowed down. But it's really exciting at this point. Obviously, state semifinals. We're game away from the state championship, and looking forward to our matchup tomorrow afternoon down here in Wichita against Shawnee Mission South.
I want to ask you this. You coached at Lee Summit North for how many years?
27.
27 years. And you coach boys.
Yes.
What was the difference and the change you made in switching to girls?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the interesting part. As far as like the practice and game time strategy and just the coaching piece of it, not a lot of difference. Very similar in the approach and what we're trying to get done. And coaching with Coach Fritz has been really easy because it's not like she's coaching boys or coaching girls. She's just coaching basketball. And a lot of the
I'm interrupting because I want to know this. Do you think girls pay more attention to the details? That's why I'm asking. What's the difference?
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going. A lot of the drills and a lot of the sets, everything that Coach Fritz was running was very similar to what we were running as a boys program at Lee Summit North. But the thing that I would tell you is the girls listen and do pay attention more. I think there's a sense of it's easier to build a team, the connection between girls and what they develop, at least with the group that we've had here the last couple years. It's been
fantastic. The reason I asked you that, because now I think I told you we were in Charlotte and North Carolina, and we just did about a half dozen interviews. All of them girls never wanted to talk about themselves. They all kept talking about the team win and the team and the team. I was like, is that something? I know boys talk about that, but not the way them girls. Every last interview,
I agree. It's a closer knit group here than what I had as boys. We've had some good groups at Lee Summit North, and obviously the teams that were closer were the better teams. But the other thing that's kind of unusual with coaching girls versus boys, and I don't know for sure why this is, but boys always wanted to give their input or suggest to us why we weren't, or what we were doing wrong. They were more willing to tell us what we were doing wrong as coaches of boys, and the girls don't ever seem to be interested in that. They're willing just to listen and to try and
all instructions.
But maybe boys have a higher self-esteem. They believe
that's in what I think. That's the whole thing. I didn't see the egos or any of that how I see the boys.
Right.
And what after having some halfway in-depth conversations, I seen the girls realize it's a team effort. And whether it was a guard or a forward or whatever, they was like, I do whatever the team demands me to do.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's one of the major differences. And that's what makes it fun, coaching at Blue Valley North, because the girls are trying to execute the things that we put in place. They are trying to win the game. Very rarely. I can't think of situations where they're pouting or they're upset. I don't know what it is. It seems like the last few years I had a lot of boys that were, they were easily irritated and upset.
Disgruntled.
Yeah. Oh, disgruntled, and turning their palms up and
their parents, they get their parents involved. Why you not my son?
We don't want to go down that road, Carlos. Yeah. That's just not a.
But I'm saying, though, to me, I think that's the difference in the girls and the boys. Even that it carries over to the parents. A lot of the parents are not on you like the boys' parents.
No, there's no doubt. And truthfully, we've had some pretty good hard practices. with the girls, and um, there have been times where I would have like a flashback if I would have gotten on a boy as hard as we've got on some of these girls. I know we would have parent phone calls the next day. The boys would go home and they'd cry to their parents. But the girls just seem to take it. They just roll with it. They're trying to improve, get better, change, and do things the way we want them done. And so it's been a lot of fun coaching at Blue Valley North. So I'm really, really, really happy that I continued to coach, and it's so fun with Coach Fritz. She makes every day a fun experience, and really enjoy coaching with her.
How important is it for you to have a good administration behind your programs?
Oh, 100%. When you've coached for over 3 decades now, we're getting close to 35 years here. The times in which the administrators are with us and working alongside us and going in the same direction makes it so much easier, because you're working with young people, 15, 16, 17 year olds, that if they don't like something, they can go home and complain about it, and then that complaint gets into the front office, and it's all up to the administrator what they want to do at that point. Usually what happened, what was told to the parent, and then what was told to the administrator are two different things. The story changes from what actually happened in the gym to when it got home, and then when it got back to school. So
You know what
the
that
administrator.
reminds me of? A lot of these little young kids would be getting in all kinds of mischief, but I have a slew of lawyers, and I always would be like, "Well, go call him and what have you." They tell me the story. They tell the lawyer the story. They get in court. It's a whole different story.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And so it's up to the administrator to understand, the parent loves the kid. The coach is demanding certain things of the player. The player doesn't like the coach for that. So, they're going to go find somebody that is going to be supportive of them. And, then it gets back to the administrator, and the administrator just has to kind of understand, hey, let's have the parent and the coach visit. Let's not get between the coach and the parent. Every single time I had an administrator say, well, why don't you sit down with Coach Hilbert and visit with him versus visiting with me? We always discussed it. We got to the point where all of us understood what had happened, and we moved forward. But when the parent talks to the administrator and the administrator tries to work it out,
That's
that
not a
approach
good
doesn't work.
fit, really.
Yeah.
Uh, so off screen, you was telling me a little bit about Mike's the Lee Summit West coach. Let's close out on talk about what you know about Mike, what your relationship was or is with him, and how do you feel about
Sure.
his tenure and
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it was 2005-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood is when Lee Summit West was being built and first opened. And Coach Hibert was an assistant coach at Lee Summit High School. Lee Summit West selected him to be the head coach at Lee Summit West to open the school, to open the program. And from 2005 to 2022, we battled each other on the court as competitors. And for the most part, Lee Summit West, got the better of us most nights. But that's okay. It's just a part of the experience. But I've known him for a
I
long,
like
long
your
time.
honesty.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's true. And there were nights where we got the better of them, but they probably beat us a few more times. But that's okay. High school sports is just part of the experience of trying and setting goals and trying to reach those, whether you win the game or lose the game. And there's always lessons to be learned. But Coach Sheaver's tremendous coach. He's a tremendous person, always wanted the best for his players, and wanted to use the sport of basketball to make them better young men who would go on beyond high school and do great things because of the experience they had in high school. And unfortunately, he stepped aside this year due to some health related situations. And, you know, a coach that's done it the right way for a long, long time. So, at least I'm at West will miss him, and the Kansas City basketball community uh, is grateful for the time, effort, and energy Coach Hibert put in.
All right. One more, because he was my man too. Over there at William Jewell College, no longer with us. Uh, Talk a little bit about him.
Yeah, Coach Holly. Yeah, that Coach Holly is a legend in the Kansas City basketball arena. I was fortunately to meet him fairly young, and just had great experiences with him. When I think about Coach Holly, to me, um, you know, to me, he's a mentor. He's a role model. Um, he's someone that I could pick up the phone and talk to him. He recruited our players often, and so we had a lot of conversations. But just the nicest person, very very kind, and I could tell a parent of a player he was recruiting honestly that if his son or their son went to William Jewell, that Coach Holly would look after them, care about them, not only as basketball players, but as students and as people, and that they were going to get a really good education. I put Coach Holly at the same level as people like John Wooden, Mike Krzyzewski, college coaches who were in the business of, mentoring.
Young athletes and men in more ways than the athletic field. All I
Right.
can say about Coach Holly, I've been around a long time, and I always talk black and white. And when I first came to do the William Jewell tournament, and they act like they didn't want to let me in, Coach Holly was like, he wasn't having none of that.
Right.
And that was back in '08.
Right.
Uh, he seen to it that everything was right. And I usually cover that every year. And I really missed that man. When I covered it this year, it was strange not seeing him give out them
Sure.
awards. And I think again that some of our coaches that have passed, I'm gonna continue to try to give them their flowers, even though they're not here on our show, because when you think about 30 years of coaching, how many kids did you affected? And then when you think about people, like you say, them,
Sure.
but they in the Bobby Knight class, they might didn't have the wins or all of that these the Duke coach and them, but the fundamentals of working with young men, turning them into real men,
Right.
responsibility and all of that, to me, that's a higher goal in basketball. And
Right.
that's what I seen Coach Holly and the assistant coaches now that played for him.
Sure.
When I came to the tournament, it was the same thing. The apple don't fall too far from the tree.
That's exactly right.
So, what would you close with, Coach?
Oh wow, that's a that's an open-ended question, Carlos. You know what? I just feel very, very lucky and blessed to continue to coach high school sports, to work with student athletes. I'll do it as long as I have the opportunity, and God's willing to provide the strength and the opportunity to do that. But I just appreciate you and Cascade Sports, what you do in broadcasting and in promoting not only basketball but other sports, high school sports, and you've obviously branched out here in the last few years to do a lot of other things to make information aware, make people aware of information, and then people can.
Information applied is power.
There you go.
Having information and not applying it is nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, one other thing I will, and you've had him on your show a lot, a young man that played for me at Leeds Summit North, Brandon Burgett, and the Kansas City, Kansas men's basketball
you
program.
give him his props, Coach.
Yeah. There you go. Coach Burgett has led his guys to a conference championship, and I think they're beginning postseason play maybe this week. Maybe they've already played a game. but just so proud of the job that he's doing at KCK, and the wins and the losses. He actually has a young man of mine that played at Lee Summit North a couple years ago, BJ Stewart. And but Brandon is, again, not only a terrific coach,
class act.
Yeah, class act, terrific person. His mom and dad, Sterling Burgett, are great people, and Brandon's just kind of continuing a fantastic legacy. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna close as we always close. Hey, for all you chumps out there think Cascade Sports is soft, we go hard in the paint, baby. And you don't want to fool with us up under the boards because we get like rough and ready.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.